Barrister Mbeseha. This communique was released, and there were actual names that Dr. Martin Mungo dropped there. But it's quite worrisome that regardless of all of the information that has been dropped out there, that Ambazonians are not allowed to vote, not just because they are not allowed to vote, but because there is no need to vote. I think that probably they have forgotten, because I do not understand how it's possible that with all of the societal damages and the low lifestyle that Ambazonians are living, poor road networks, lack of basic amenities in general to say, people are still willing to get involved in the elections. I'm sure this is an area you would want to educate the people about again.
Well, talking about elections, the communique from the spokesperson of the government is quite in order. What I might want to do is just to add fresh to it. Because, you see, if all Ambazonians at the home front refuse to go out to vote, there will still be elections in Cameroon. They will still have a president in terms of presidential elections. And so, why does Ambazonia, whoever in Ambazonia, wants to force himself or herself to where they don't belong? The refusal to go for elections is symbolical. It's telling them that we don't belong to that thing. I've said here many times, each time this week, that come October, we're going to meet somebody in Yaoundé who should have been elected or choosing to represent them. How they get him is not our problem. Also, why must we go and vote there? Why must we force a sense of belonging where we don't belong? For those who don't know, the last elections that Ambazonia ever had was in 1959. That was the last election they held, when Francha was able to defeat Enlele. That was rare competition. Going forward from that day, there has never been any elections anymore. After 1959, the next election came in 1964. Ahiju forced Francha. They must adopt a list system. List systems are completely not democratic. Also, that was the last time we saw elections, when somebody could rightfully say that he had won, he or she had won, parliamentary or their constituency. Again, you ask yourself the question, at the height of their so-called democracy in the 1990s, before 1990, remember, Mr. Dinka, Goji Dinka, had called on all Ambazonians in Yaoundé to withdraw from the National Assembly, and that would have ended the occupation of Cameroon, of Ambazonia. They did not. Came 1990, came an adventurer called Nifrundi. He did not only win elections, that he was refused. His constituents, his people won a lot of seats in parliament. What did those seats mean to them? What change did they effect on the map of Cameroon as a party trying to get power? Absolutely no power. Again, elections have lost their value, be it at the parliamentary, at the council, or even at the Senate level. Absolutely no meaning to us. We know, for example, that today, in the parliament of Yaoundé, they have 20 MPs from the so-called Northwest and 15 from the South. That's a total of 35. How did they give them 35? How did they give them 35 seats? Nobody knows the basis on which they were given 35 seats. Somebody said in Yaoundé, I made a decree. Elections in Ambazonia were never like that. You were a parliamentarian, or you had a constituency defined by population. They will say, for example, people in Bali and Bafut are 100,000. And the lowest number of people that a parliamentarian can represent is 80,000. And so these people are 100,000. Two of them jointly give us one parliamentarian. That's not the case today. What's the reason for which Bamenda, which is twice the size of the whole southern region, give only 20 seats in the National Assembly while the southern state, the southern region gives more than that. Absolutely nothing. Elections have no meaning to us. We don't belong there. We should not go there to baptize their evil. They are trying to go for presidential elections now. The outgoing president was supposed to have been elected in 2018. In that elections, officially reported, the participation rate of Ambazonia, in other words, Northwest and Southwest combined, was less than 20%. Nonetheless, they had a president. They still had a president who has been there for 7 years. He has done nothing for the people. Rather, he has killed you. The war has not ended. In fact, they used the very elections to declare war on us and to ban the electorate that are supposed to be electing, to discuss even the causes of the war, to discuss whatever thing you are going through there. And so you force yourself to belong. Is it the act of treachery? Of course. Because the people who are being recruited to promote this idea of elections, they are not illiterates, they are not old mothers, they are people who were groomed. Some of them professors in Yaoundé, some of them doctors. Why are they trying to belong to where they don't belong? Again, if you don't go for elections, they will still win. They are going to have a president in Yaoundé. Our focus is not elections. Our focus is who is the next president. And I've said, come October, we are going to meet other Pobia, a regenerated Pobia in Yaoundé as the president, or somebody else who will sit there in this position as the president of Cameroon, who will be forced to talk to us, who will be forced to discuss the terms of separation or whatever thing together. And so we have no interest, and we should not have any interest. These people are forcing themselves to go and register to vote. They are doing so simply, in most cases, because they are bribed. You go and register, they pay you, they give you bread, they give you sardine to mortgage their own future. So again, elections, not part of us. Not because we don't know, but because we want them to know, I want the world to know that we're not part of whatever thing comes out there. Even if they are the best elections, they don't concern us. Because we've gained nothing out of elections since 1959. We have seen governments change there. We have seen parliamentarians. Let anybody in Ambazonia mention any item of development, a school, a college, a university that was ever discussed politically in Yaoundé before it was built. Zero. A road. You want the ring road. The ring road, even if they were to construct that road, it is not found in the budget of Cameroon, which is discussed in parliament. It's not there. So elections have no meaning to us. We have imprisoned ourselves to these people. They have occupied us physically. They have occupied us mentally. And so forced us to believe in what they think, masturbated ourselves, our brains, to make us look like them. But again, as Pobia said, they have tried to assimilate these people for past 40, 60 years, and they have failed. And so elections will change nothing. No reasonable Ambazonian should go registering to vote. Not because we know the consequences of their voting or not voting, but we know that with or without Ambazonia, they will have a president. We know that come October, that president, be it voted or appointed from France or from anywhere else, should be forced to come and sit down with us and discuss the problem, the terms of separation, and how to do it. And so the communique from Dr. Mumba is very much intact. This is on all fours with what we think. And then we wish to remind our brothers and sisters who are venturing into this venture of going to register people for voting. We have said that Electoral, for example, that organized election, they are out of our territory. They are our enemies. And so if you act as their agent, you are equally an enemy by association. And so if something happens to you in that process, you have yourself to blame, no one else. You cannot see death go enter into a trap with your own naked eyes and blame someone else. If you are so interested to vote, move to Douala, move to Munda. If you go there and register, you can vote there if you want, because it's meant for those who are resident in that country. But claiming to go and organize elections in Widikom, in Akwaya, somewhere in Ambazonia is illegal. We don't want it. If you do so, you are cooperating, you are putting your life at stake.